on how daily routines, can nurture growth and stability in your children. How daily routines can nurture growth and stability in your children. And I see, many moms, when they reach out to me, oh, tell me, these children are not listening. I have to shout. I have to, yell. I have to spank. I have to get them to listen. And many times my question is, are these children, do they know what they're even meant to do? Are they prepared? Is it at the time that you want the children to do something? That's when you say, oh, this is what you need to do. This is what, you are not listening to me. Have you done your chores? Is at the time that we need them to do something that we start to now get upset. The thing is that, what are the routines? What do you have in place that these children, they are aware of, right? To prepare them well ahead of time. So I see that many parents, many moms do not have a routine. We just feel that when we wake up in the morning, when the children when they're up, is whatever we tell them to do, then they have to do it. But it doesn't work like that. Even for adults, if you do not have a routine, you just get by the day, you are not productive. Whatever comes, if somebody says do this, you jump on it. And at the end of the day, you are questioning, what have I achieved at the end of the day, or why did I feel like this at the end of the day? So if we can build, routines for our children, trust me, it's going to transform your parenting journey. It has transformed mine, and it has transformed the lives of many moms that I work with, and I know it can transform your life as well. So before we get started, I would first explain, okay, what do you mean? Because maybe if you do not know what exactly a routine is, so I've gone to the dictionary so that we're all clear to know what do we mean by routines. So the dictionary meaning says that routines are, consistent structured pattern. So when we say routine, that means structured pattern, of activities that are repeated regularly. So when I'm saying you need to have a routine for your child, what are the, what is that regular pattern? As a child psychologist, right, we know that children thrive when there is a consistent form of doing something. When they have a consistent routine, when they have a consistent pattern, when they have scheduled events as well, your children are more likely to cooperate with you rather than you trying to wing your day. Trust me, when you have that routine, something very regular. So we know that every day your child would wake up. We know that every day your child is going to wake up. We know that every day your child is going to eat food. We know that they would probably go to school during, obviously, school time. So you know that there are some things that your children are going to have to do every day. So your responsibility as a parent is to put it in a pattern to say, okay, when you wake up, this is what I expect you to do. This is what you are meant to do. This is the next thing you are meant to do. And that is what improves cooperation. Because children, when you just tell a child, oh, the child comes to ask you, let's say, oh, can I watch TV? And you say, is it TV time? Whereas maybe yesterday you allowed the child to watch TV before lunchtime. You now say, oh, do you watch TV before your lunch? No. Go and eat food first. But if you have like a routine that you've involved your child in, and you say, you know what, we're not watching TV till after, lunchtime, your child is prepared. Even if your child comes to ask you, Mom, can I watch TV, for example? You say, oh, is it, have you had your lunch? And the child says, no, that we watch TV after lunch. That's what you benefit, in having routines. And everything that we provide in Mummyclinicc is adaptable, whether your child is a newborn baby, because you would have to build a routine for yourself to walk along with your baby. So your own life too there's a pattern to it. So you are also not very overwhelmed and stretched, thinking, oh, what am I supposed to do next? What am I supposed to do next? When you know that you have a guided routine, then you know what next to do, with your baby, with your child. Right? So it's the same thing if you have young children, toddlers, teenagers, even the teenagers. Obviously, by the time, what I always encourage parents, when you have children 5+ and above, set the routines with them to say, okay, what are we meant to do when we wake up? What is the next thing we need to do? Write it down. What is the next thing we need to do? And what it's also for young children, let's say, assuming less than 5 years old, we always encourage that it's like, a visual routine, right? So it can be like a whiteboard, or a sheet of paper where you print out papers. Maybe in the morning you draw a bed, somebody waking up and stretching, because younger children, they might not necessarily understand when you write something, when you wake up, pray, then you go and eat your breakfast, something like that. So you can make it visual for younger children. The internet is there. Let's use internet for good rather than just scrolling, through social media. So when you have the pictorial one for your younger children, you just take the pictures, paste it. So you say you explain it to them. Somebody wakes up in the morning, stretches, there's somebody kneeling down to pray if you're a person of faith. Then the next thing, somebody going to shower, you draw a picture of somebody showering. So your child is already aware that, okay, subconsciously, this is what my day should look like. So when you're telling your younger children, because many moms will tell me, oh, my young children, to get them ready for school is so stressful, I have to shout, they are not ready. The question is, do you have routines to prepare these children? So for your younger children, have very visual like routine checklist for them to know what they need to do. For older children, 5+, set it with them. You can write it down so that they are aware of what the next activity is. So like we have said, routines are patterns of activities to prepare your children. So why should we have routines? Number one, routines provide a sense of structure for children. When you don't have any sense of structure for your children, you are confusing them. They don't know what next to do, and all you come to do is shout at them, oh, you've not done this, what is it, and all that. But when they are prepared and they know what next is in the activity, and you say, oh, you know what, the next thing is you need to have your breakfast now, or you need to shower, something like that. Sorry, excuse me. Or you need to, shower, breakfast. After breakfast, maybe they pick their bags, they go to school. When they are back from school, they know that they need to put their bags somewhere, but it has to be written. For children that can read, 5+ and above. For children that cannot read, make it pictorial, very visual for them to know the next set of activities that they are meant to do. Then when you have routines, it prepares, like we have said, they know what next to do, even if they do not necessarily have it at the back of their minds. When you remind them, rather than them crying and throwing tantrums, oh, I don't want to eat lunch now, but they already know in their routine that maybe lunch is the next thing. So you already say, you know what, you're having your lunch, lunchtime is lunchtime now. After lunchtime, you can now play on your screens, or you can watch TV, or it is homework. But you know what many parents do? No routines. The child comes back today, oh, you have to do your homework when you finish lunch. And the child is thinking, but I was able to watch TV yesterday. Mommy, I don't want to do homework. No homework, no homework. And you're thinking, what is all this? The next day, what the child has done today is so different. The next day again, maybe you allow the child to watch TV. And you say, watch TV. The child, maybe because of whatever you're doing, the child watches TV. Then you will now say homework. The child. So when there's no pattern for children, they are less cooperative, because they will be thinking, I did something else yesterday. Why are you now forcing me to do something different today? But when they have that routine, that pattern, they are prepared and they know what, they're more cooperative to say, okay, it's true. I did the same thing yesterday. I did the same thing today. And they're more willing to say, okay, yes, mommy. Okay, when I finish my lunch, I'll do this. When I finish my homework, then I can watch TV. And and when it comes to routine, you can't copy somebody else's routine. The routine that works for my family might not work for your family. So that's why, yes, there are guided routines. Like we have routines checklists. If it's something you are interested in, you can send me a DM. If you're interested, we have like a routine scheduling checklist that we provide for parents. It's free. If you're interested, you can send me a DM, right? But what we do is that it gives you a guide. So you now adapt that to your own reality to say, okay, this is what we need to do from this morning till bedtime, right? So your children, they know what they are meant to do. Are you going to follow your routine 100% all the time? No. But it prepares everybody. Everybody knows what they're meant to do. So there's no drama. It reduces the drama in your family when you have routines for children. Because that is how children can thrive. When they see that something consistently happens all the time. It's just like when you promise your child something. If you're always promising them and not following through and not giving them, they already know that, okay, mommy is just trying to, bribe us. She's not going to do it. And that is why they would not listen to you. When you say, quickly do it, I will do it, I would give you this thing. But at the end of the day, you don't give them. So the children, they know, they follow patterns and, structure. So if they know that my mommy, if she promises me something, she keeps to it, most likely, they would follow through. But we're not saying, don't bribe children. We are not here. We don't support bribing children here. But what I'm just saying is that when you have a routine, trust me, routines can transform your life. Then when you now merge it to now schedule those routines to say this within this time, it gives you a sense of, it gives your children also a sense of responsibility, because they know at this time, this is what I'm meant to do. So for some of you that you struggle with your children, they don't want to do homework. Obviously, there are exceptions, for some children, for several reasons, they might be struggling with some things. But if you know that, okay, to get my children off TV at times when my child is on the screen, it will be so hard to get the child to do homework, then ensure that, the child does homework. Let your routine be, before anything, do your homework. Maybe after lunch, they rest when they're back from school. Then you have your homework. Then you can watch screens or play after homework, something like that. So look at, different things that you might be struggling with in your own home to say, oh, my child is always complaining to do this and that. Ensure, have that routine that would work for you and your child. And like I've said, when it comes to children 5+ and above, please set this routine with them. Sit with them to say, you know what, moving forward, this is our routine. What do you think? When you wake up in the morning, what do you want to do first? Do you want to go and brush your teeth, or do you want to lay your bed first? Let them put it in that. Let them put it there. When you come back from school, do you want to, rest first? Then have your lunch, then do your homework, then watch TV if you do screen time anyway during the week in your own home. So schedule, sit with them to build that routine with your children, because they are more cooperative when they are involved. Not that in your own head you are trying to say, oh, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do in the morning, and the child is thinking, I don't know about all this. So I'm not aware of all this. So to also, encourage, cooperation, build this routine together, with your children 5+ and above. Less than 5+, you can create that for them, but, make it more visual, because they would be able to understand the pictures more than you just writing or you repeating and saying the same thing all the time. And it also reduces your own stress as well. And what we've seen with having routines as well, aside the fact that it prepares children, they are less, they're more cooperative when they have some level of guide, when they see that pattern, that this is what happens all the time. What happens as well is that it also, guides them in when it comes to like behavior, which is the same thing when we're saying they are more cooperative, rather than them crying and throwing tantrums that this is what I want. In routine as well, you can have your snack time. So the children knows, okay, when they come back from school, they don't have snack or whatever at this time. Rather than a child that will be asking you, mommy, can I have biscuit 100 times a day? And you are thinking, oh my God, do you want, what do you want me to do? Is there every time you want to have biscuit? But when you have your routines, and in that routine, you've had snack time, routine there. Is it snack time? No, mommy, stop. Wait for snack time. It transforms your life. It's the same thing as bedtime. Many of you don't have bedtime. You tell your children to go and sleep anytime that they want to sleep, until the child is tired and the child is dozing off. That's when you say, okay, yeah, come and go and sleep. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't help your children in the long run, right? So what you want to do is also include, bedtime routine. Oh, by this is time we go to bed, you pray or you read a storybook and they go to bed. but it has to be regular. It's the consistency that that makes you win at the end of the day. But some of you, bedtime is 8 o'clock today, tomorrow 9 o'clock, next tomorrow 10 p.m., the next tomorrow 11 p.m. Then you now come back again and say the child should come and sleep at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. The child is going to say, Mom, I don't want to sleep. No, mommy, no, mom. But when the child knows that every day between like maybe 7 and 8 o'clock, you would have told them it's bedtime. By the end of 1 week, the child already starts to cooperate with you because they know that at this time, that's when we go to bed. And it helps children as they grow into their teenage years, as they grow into their adult years. They are more structured. That's why you see some adults, no structure, no time management, nothing, no schedule. They're just doing whatever, however they want to. It's because they've not been wired or taught to, live by routines, right? So you see some people, they will say, come at this time to this place. No sense of timing, no sense of routine. They do whatever they want to do. But what we're doing is that we're building our children for the long term, more stability in their adulthood. Not that somebody's child will not be struggling with another person's child, or maybe when they get into the workplace. You also see there's some people in the workplace that they don't have any sense of responsibility as well. They have to be taught before they know that, and these are all the things that you can teach your children from a very young age, and it makes your life easier, even as a parent, because all this yelling that you do, trust me, it would reduce by 50%. Because all you need to be doing is that, okay, what is on your routine list, on your checklist? What is on your this list? Okay, or even you, for your younger children, you look at it, the child is meant to be doing this at this time. So all the stress that you're going through would reduce. It would reduce for your children as well, because we are also, when you put your children under pressure, oh, see, we are getting late for school. What's happening here? Everybody's stressed. The child is also stressed. When the child gets to school, it's like, oh, even in the car, everybody is stressed. Whereas you don't need all this at the end of the day, because when they're able to go to bed on time, they wake up, on time. You don't even have to wake them up and force them to wake up because they've gone to bed on time. They are well rested in the course of the day because there's a pattern that they've followed. And that would also help you, and not only help you, help your child also. And like I've also said, then it gives, clear, it makes transition clear to your children, because they know, okay, I'm moving from the next thing I'm going to do after I've taken my breakfast is to maybe now go to school. Or when I come back from school, what I need to do now, maybe, let's say, have lunch, for example, or play. Okay, when I've played, I need to do my homework. So they are aware of the transitions. They know what next they need to do. Even if they are not, at least they will go to all you need to do is, what is the next thing on your routine list? That's the question. And what has helped me, when my children were younger, getting older, is I would now screenshot, so that at least I'm not shouting, what are you meant to do? What are you meant to do? I will screenshot their checklist and their routine checklist. So what you need to do is paste that routine checklist maybe in your kitchen, in a very common area. So what we always do is we have one in the kitchen and one in their bedroom as well. Then one on my phone. Now that they're even older, I have their routine checklist on my phone. So if I see that, okay, maybe they are not doing what they're meant to do, I just ask, oh, what are you meant to be doing now? Oh, they now say, oh, Mom, I'm meant to be doing my homework now. Oh, I'm meant to be watching TV now. Oh, I'm meant to be playing now. Oh, I'm meant to be, So this drama that will be screaming and shouting, you will not need it, because it's there. So what you want to do to make life easier for yourself, also screenshot it. Have that on your phone, and all you need to do is, if you even see the child just walking around aimlessly around there, they're like, oh, what are you meant to be doing now? What's on your routine checklist? And you can give it a very nice, name, if you would want to do that. Princesses, checklist, routine checklist. That is if you have one child. But if there are many, they can use the same routine. But obviously, by the time they start to get to like 10, from like 2 digits, they'll most likely, like my children, by the time they got to 10, they had different routine checklists, because what they, the way they study is totally different. And maybe at times, that time they were sharing their laptops as well, so they cannot use laptop at the same time to study. So one study time, one is playing at the other time, or one is doing some sort of creative time as well. So that's how you make it work. That's why I said my type of routine checklist might not necessarily work for you, but the checklist that we've built for the parents in the community, if you're interested, you can send me a DM, is to give you an idea as to how routine checklist, that is if you need one anyway, if you want to know, okay, how do I build a routine checklist? And what we did with our own routine checklist is that we did with minimal screen time, because the less screen time, the better for your children. So what we did was, at least during the week, so that if you are thinking that, okay, I want to reduce my kids' screen time during the week, how do I do it? What activities do I engage them in? That's why we built that particular checklist for parents that want to limit their children's screen time to the very key important times. So it might be maybe weekends that they would have time for screens and all that, but the week they're bonding, they're building other creative juices within themselves. So that's what we built that scheduling checklist for. So if you're interested, it's free, so you can send a DM and we would share that with you. And also it supports academic development as well when you have routines. So rather than you just telling your children to do study at any time, homework at any time, they already know when their study time is, when homework time is. So in their routine, they already know that, okay, at this time, when I'm done with this, the next thing I need to do is to study. So rather than the child is having fun, that's the time that you now say, have you done your homework? And the child's like, no, not again today. I don't want homework. It will stress them out. But when the child knows that, okay, this is time I probably study or have homework, they're more likely to do their homework at the right time. I know what I'm saying, right? It's something I've helped so many parents to be able to achieve, and it's something that's helped me as well, till my children got to their teen. Even now that they're in their, very late teenage years, homework or study time is not an issue, because they know they've written it there. It's their routine. They built it themselves, and they know, okay, this is the time I'm meant to study. This is the time I'm meant to play. This is time so when they are playing, I'm not going to come and tell them, oh, stop playing, go and study, because I know they have their study time and they're going to study at that time. So, or play after study, whatever, however you would want to do it. But for young children less than 10, I would always advise that let their play time be after their study time. When they've studied, then let them play. And let them know there's a caveat. It's not like you will rush your study and homework just because you want to play. So you let them also know that you have to put in the best in your homework, because if I go through your homework or your study, your study sheet, and it's not properly done, you're not still going to play. So it has to be done. If not, you're not even going to play that day. So ensure that you put your best in, do your best, finish up your homework or your study time, then you can have your play time. Okay? So, and also routines brings, stability in the lives of children. That's what we've said, because they already know what they're meant to do. They're prepared. They're more stable, right? They're not thinking, oh, this woman or this man will come and tell me to do something else. So please, and when you have routines, when you set routines for your children, do not mess it up for them. When you know that you've put this is playtime, do not come and mess the playtime up and say the child should go and read a book at that time. Follow the routine. Be consistent with the routine with your children, and you would see them thrive, grow, and be more stable and be more responsible, because it brings sense of responsibility. Is when we don't know what we have to do at every point in time, at least some level of direction. That's why some people are not responsible, even with adults. When you know, okay, I don't have, like for me, even as an adult, I have my routines that this is what I need to do in the course of the day. So if you do not have it, you are not responsible, because anything that comes your way, you just be You'll be grabbing it, and at the end of the day, you ask yourself, why is my day so messed up at the end of the day? So it's the same thing with your children. It makes them more responsible because they are accountable to something. That routine, that routine checklist, they're accountable to it, right? So that is how that works. So if you have any question, thank you so much for your time. I hope that this has been valuable. If you have questions, feel free to drop it. I would to get to your